Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for joining my Buddhism sharing meeting today. So I'm going to share quite a few topics about Buddhism today, and this information has been given to me by a member in Malaysia, Arnold, and I really thank him for this. Okay, so the first topic I'm going to talk about should be a very popular one because everybody might sometime in their life or in their practice have this question. And the question is, where is my benefit? The question is, I chanted about a very specific goal and it didn't happen. So where is my benefit? Now, this is a very common question among all of us. So the answer is, progress in your Buddhist practice leads to changes within you. This must happen inevitably because the act of chanting itself and the alterations you make in your routine and mental outlook to do this are themselves significant changes in you. These changes are always marked by concurrent changes in your environment, which mirrors your inner life. This is cause and effect. Effecting noticeable changes in our surroundings based on those taking place within, however, is not as simple an instance of cause versus effect as, say, flicking a light switch. So there frequently is a time lag between them. It is only natural to become impatient, but you must be confident that if there are changes taking place inside, external changes are inevitable. This is in accord with the principle of the oneness of person and environment. Now, to give you a very simple example, if you are a very untidy person, so your home will be crowded and full of stuffs here and there, and you cannot walk through. But after chanting, you begin to realize that you like cleanliness, you like tidiness. This is a change inside you. And once you change inside, you will start to clear all the rubbish in your place, all right, and make it tidy and nice. So this is why when you change, you make your environment change. It's a very, very simple example. Let me go on. Some benefits are instant. Some may take time. But the intrinsic benefits of chanting are immediate, if often unseen. According to the principle of simultaneity of cause and effect, when you make the right course, that is, chanting to the Gohonzen, the effect is assured. It is like planting. Once the course of putting the seed in the ground is made, the effect is already inherent in the seed. Or to use another example, it is like writing a check or getting a check. It may be a while before you can get the money, but the effect, the money, will surely manifest eventually under the right circumstances. For example, when you take the check to the bank and then you get the money. The important thing is that you have undertaken a process by which you can change your life. Therein lies the first benefit. It is a major one, particularly in today's world, where the individual often feels that circumstances are beyond his or her control. The power of Buddhist practice becomes increasingly apparent. The most valuable change is a measure of control over our destiny. The extent to which we can direct our lives, share our fate, is to a larger extent the measure of our enjoyment in life. When you are chanting for your goals, your attitude becomes transformed. You are fixed on the future, on the attainment of your goals, and you are achieving a kind of one-pointedness of mind. You face squarely your problems rather than retreat from them. You advance with the spirit of hopeful challenge rather than one of resignation. When you are about to face up to and deal with obstacles, Even if they cannot be surmounted or solved immediately, your capability as a person is increased. For example, if you have a heavy suitcase to carry, you need added strength, and the added strength you gain is the benefit. Perhaps the exact benefit you are seeking, some conspicuous benefit in your environment, may not be apparent, but other equally significant benefits are accruing to you without your knowing it. This is quite normal and is to be expected. Actually, sometimes when we chant for something and it's not happening, but because we are chanting, we are changing, and we are trying to achieve our goals, we ourselves change. And the change inside us is called inconspicuous benefit. It's greater than the goal that you want to achieve, because it's this inconspicuous benefit that will bring you joy and happiness in your life. For example, I always chant for something. I chant and chant and chant. And then slowly, my character changes. I become more considerate, more sensitive to other people's needs. For example, lately, I hurt my hand, so I could not drive. And there was a parcel that's got to be picked up from the post office, almost urgently, because the next day is the deadline. So Chloe has got to work, so she cannot help me. So I called up my son. I said, well, I've got this parcel that's got to be picked up. Are you in the office? Because his office is only 10 minutes from where I am, and the post office is 5 minutes from me. So if my son works in the office, then he could come to my place and then get the parcel for me. And then my son replied and said, yes, he could do after a certain time or so forth. And he did get the parcel for me. And I was so thankful. So I thanked my son, and he said, Mother, you are not like before. Before you want something to do immediately, regardless of the other situation. So I told Kevin, I said, I've changed. I've learned from SGI, from Sensei, that I should be considerate of other people's circumstances. Yes, I want this done, but what about the other person's situation? We have to care about the other persons too, and not demand them to do things immediately. But I was like that because I was in the interior design business, and I have to get work going to meet the deadline. So whatever I want to do is got to be done immediately. This is what I demanded from all my workers and contractors. So I was used to demanding things from people. But now I've all changed. I cannot demand. I can only request. And if the other person cannot do it, I will understand. Okay? So, and not regret. Last night, I need to get a prescription for my medication, and I asked Chloe if she could do it. She seemed to be very hesitant. So, seeing her reaction, I thought over it a while and said, Chloe, never mind, I'll think of my way. And today, a good friend of mine is going to visit me, and she is so nice to me. She drives me everywhere. Of course, we are very good friends, and I help her in other ways too. So I asked her, I said, Florence, tomorrow you're coming to my place to discuss your business or whatever. Do you think you can take me to get the prescription? And she said she could do it. So this is why if I ask somebody to do something, the minute they show any hesitation, I would withdraw. I would not force. So this is a change in me, and that makes me have better relationships with other people. Okay, let me go on with, with the material. So when you undertake to practice Buddhism, you stop looking for salvation outside of yourself. There's no one up there to help you, nobody to ask. You have opted to take full responsibility for your own life. In that spirit, you may now begin to ask yourself this question: to what extent is my own negative karma preventing me from gaining this goal or benefit? Nichiren wrote that you can never hope to attain enlightenment unless you perceive the nature of your own life. The benefits that are elusive, most difficult to grasp, are precisely the signposts pointing back to our own negative karma. The fact that you cannot get or achieve certain things indicates the areas of your life that you have to work on. Do not give up easily. Push on. Chant sincerely to overcome those negative points in your own karma. Then the benefit in time will surely follow. Okay, now next topic is, well, in summary, that the first topic that I talked about is if we want to achieve our goals, if we want to get benefits, we have to look inside our lives and see if you're not getting a benefit and see what is preventing you from getting your benefit. In almost 99.9% of the cases, it is us who is preventing us from getting the benefit. For example, if you want to become a manager, all right, and you are not a very aggressive person, but you just want to be a manager. The thing is, if you want to be a manager, you have to study, you have to get the proper education or the proper skills in order to be promoted. If you are too lazy to do that, of course, your goal will not be achieved. So it's always us that is preventing us. If we can change our own karma, our negative karma, then we can and then take steps to correct ourselves, then the benefits will come. Okay, my next topic is, do Nichiren Buddhists believe in God? The answer could be yes or no. It all depends on one's definition of God. Certainly, there is a kinship between one God and Buddhism's concept of the mystic law. The mystic law, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, gives rise to all from the galaxies and planets to the water, trees, and each of us. The same power that creates the stars lies within us, with every human being equally having the potential to lead a life of ultimate fulfillment, to overcome all obstacles and change all hardship into joy. The mystic law is both out there and inside our own lives. It permeates everything and everyone. Buddhas are human beings who perceive the mystic law within and fully manifest it in their daily lives. In this sense, there is no absolute distinction between the mystic law and us human beings. We are the mystic law. We are a demonstration of the mystic law. We are all Buddhas worthy of supreme respect. We can use the limitless power of the mystic law to work for our benefit, but it is not something we ask to answer our prayers. While we acknowledge the existence of this power of life itself, at the same time, we remain firmly in control. The degree to which we can tap the power of the law depends on the strength of our faith and practice. When we chant Nam-myoho Renge Kyo with confidence, we activate the mystic law within us. Thus, armed with a strong life condition, we become the catalyst for everything in our lives, people, things, situations, to function in support of achieving our desires and our deepest happiness. Rather than encouraging dependence on either an external power or on an individual's inherent ability, Nichiren Buddhism perfectly balances the two. This fusion of the universal law and the individual gives rise to an individual's happiness, much like the fusion of wick and wax allows a candle to burn and shed light. Much of the above explanation of the mystic law may sound familiar to those who believe in the God of the Bible. And indeed, when first beginning to practice Nichiren Buddhism, many say that Nichiren Buddhism's teachings are what they have already believed. Ultimately, of course, ours is not a monotheistic religion. we do not believe in a creator who is distinct from us. We do embrace the view of a compassionate life of the universe. We identify the highest potential in all human life and continually strive to reveal this potential both in ourselves and in those around us. Now, I think a long time ago, when I was in Canada, I attended a training course, and the senior member gave us a talk, and he said, the world and the universe is very kind to us. It's the first time I heard about this. I asked myself, I didn't ask him, I asked myself, why is the universe so kind? Why did he say this? Why is the universe kind to us? And slowly, I know why. Because if we do not abuse the world gives us oxygen, light, and the trees give us also oxygen, and the world also gives us. So this is all the things that the world is doing to us. It is the sign of being kind to us all. All right. So my next topic is practice for self and practice for others. I remember when I first started to practice Nichiren Buddhism, the senior member who taught me chanting, she said, Lydia, if you started to chant and you know this very powerful and you get the benefit, you must, M-U-S-T, go and spread the law and teach other people to chant. You must not keep it to yourself. You have to share this Buddhism with others. And also, I kept saying over and over again, this practice is about helping others to become happy. It's not just because of us. So this is why in the Gongyo, the last 4 sentences, Mai Chi Sa Sen Nen Iga Ryu Sujo, Tokunu Mu Jo Do Sokujo Bushin. And in meaning, the real meaning, because I can read Chinese, so I know what it means. It means every minute of the day, every split second of the day, there's only one thought in our mind. This is how to share this wonderful Buddhism to other people so they can become Buddhas. By becoming Buddhas, which means that they can attain happiness. So this is the gist, the important point of our practice, to help others to become happy. And since then, I have never stopped doing my work to share this Buddhism with everyone who comes across my path. Okay, let me share the material now. One day, a district leader, Takito, visited her other member and said, Mrs. Sushimura, if you truly want to transform your karma and become happy, chanting dimoku alone is not enough. This is a practice for oneself and others. So in addition to doing Gongyo and chanting dimoku, we need to share this Buddhism with others. If you only pray for your own happiness, your faith will be selfish and self-centered. This is exactly what the member who taught me chanting said to me at the very beginning. So the member said, but I still haven't solved my problems. When I do, I will focus on teaching others. Now, this is for me now. To me, this is like chicken and egg. Which comes first, chicken or egg? Okay, so the material now. The senior member said, no, that's not how it works. If you were sick, would you avoid going to the hospital because you don't feel well? Or would you hurry to the hospital in order to get better, even though you may find it hard to do so? So the member said, you are right. If I was suffering, then I would hurry to the hospital. So the senior member said, yes, now you see, the same is true of Buddhism. If you want to overcome your present sufferings, you should not put off making the effort, but take action right away. Of course, if you are too physically ill, you don't need to push yourself. You can share this Buddhism without traveling far. Just talk about Buddhism to those who come to your house, or to your neighbors. The important thing is to earnestly share the Daishonen's Buddhism, motivated by your determination for everyone to become happy. Now, this is what I have been doing too. Whoever comes along my way and started to talk to me, and if I think that we can carry on a good conversation, then I will tell them about the chanting. Of course, I ask them what do they have any other religion, and if they do, then I will shut up. Okay, let me go on. The member said, but I don't know what to say. The senior member said, start with what you know. Sharing why you decided to start this practice is an excellent method. Or you can go with your husband to speak about Buddhism and back up what he says by nodding in agreement and say, yes, that's right. Yes, that's true. Okay, so again, I would emphasize, please go and share with other people, chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, how great it is, so we can help other people to become happy. All right, so my next topic is make it happen. You do not have to be dominated by your circumstances. What's the point of crying? Now, me again, I honestly do not encourage people to cry. I mean, okay, if you encounter something which hurts you a lot, which you're not sure about, you let out your emotion by crying. Okay, crying one time is acceptable. Crying the second time is tolerating, I call it. But if you cry the third time, then I would totally disagree. Because if you cry and cry and cry, which means that you do not believe that you've got the power. You do not believe that chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo will have the power to solve your problems. Okay? You cry because you feel you're helpless, you're weak, and this is exactly contradictory to what we are practicing. We practice this Buddhism because we are encouraged. We know that we've got the power to help us to solve everything. So please, if you, again I said, cry one time, okay, second time, okay, the third time, stop it. Go to the Go House and chant for a solution, for the wisdom, for the solution, the courage to face your problem, and have the courage to face and the life force to take action to solve your problem. And that will be it. Okay, what's the point of crying? No matter how much you feel sorry for yourself, nothing will change. Now, this is what the passage says. We all have some issues to face. There is not a single person in the world for whom everything is okay. Being a member of the Soka Gakkai means to bravely challenge any situation and circumstances and become winners in life. The point is not what will happen to you, but this is important, what you are going to make it happen. Faith is getting results in the situation we find ourselves and triumphing over reality. The light of path shines in a person who overcomes difficulties. Your mission is to become the strongest, brightest, purest-hearted person of all, regardless of the circumstances, and live a life you can say you are immensely happy. Put the sad feelings aside and adopt a positive and joyful attitude. Now the next topic is, Sensei says, there are 3 perspectives of the heart. Sensei focuses on one of the quintessential principles of Nichiren Buddhism. It is the heart that is important. The 3 perspectives of heart are, number 1, the heart of challenge, 2, the heart of conviction, 3, the heart of altruism. Number 1, the heart of challenge. Faith in Nichiren Buddhism means having the heart to challenge, having the never-defeated spirit. Sensei elaborated here that the Daishonen's disciples followed the Daishonen's great example and bravely challenged the difficulties that arose in their lives. Challenge what lies ahead of us with firm faith, abundant dimoku, resolute prayer, and seeking the Daishonen's gosho and sensei's guidance, no matter how difficult and trying it may be. And even when we don't obtain immediate visible results from the efforts we make, the heart or spirit to continue challenging ourselves, determined not to be defeated by hardship or adversity, is a sign that we have already won. When we have the heart to continue to challenge our situation, surely we will be able to achieve breakthrough after breakthrough, as we are creating all the positive causes that will bring about a positive outcome. We will definitely not be deadlocked. Number 2, heart of conviction. Sensei quotes a passage from the Gospel, "Winter always turns to spring," which reads, "Those who believe in the Lotus Sutra are as if in winter, but winter always turns to spring." Never, from ancient times on, has anyone seen or heard of winter turning back to autumn. Nor have we ever heard of a believer in the Lotus Sutra who turned into an ordinary person, not enlightened. Sensei says, "In these words, I can keenly sense the Daishonen's heart, his conviction that we can overcome any obstacle and attain Buddhahood in this lifetime without fail. If we endure wintry challenges to our Buddhist practice and continue to strive our hardest with rousing strong faith, we will definitely achieve victory. That is why it is important to persevere in faith to the very end. If we stop mid-course or succumb to doubts and quit practicing, all our efforts will be in vain. The key is to keep pressing forward cheerfully, confident that a joyous spring will arrive. That is the heart of conviction that we can forge from the golden words of the Buddha. Number 3, the heart of altruism or benefiting others. The Daishonin writes, "If one lights a fire for others, one will brighten one's own way." When we are concerned for the welfare of others and extend a helping hand, we are not only acting to benefit others, but also creating good fortune for ourselves. The compassionate act of practicing for others is the heart of altruism. This is where we reach out to people around us, sharing with them optimism and hope that we derive from our faith and practice. Well, for me, example, I've always found that when I help other people, in the end, I was helping myself. Countless examples have shown me. The Gohonsen's power is way beyond the comprehension of our minds. This is why we call it mystic. Our challenge is to dream results as big as the power of the Gohonsen, which had no limit, says President Ikeda. Second President Josei Toda often said, "A strong prayer to the Gohonsen is certain to be realized. However, there are 3 conditions. That is, dimoku, dimoku, and more dimoku." He also said, "The power of dimoku is colossal. It can transform a life filled with painful karma into one that is like strolling in a beautiful garden or like a pleasant dream." Now, I would share with you a very, very touching experience by a member in the States. She titled it as "Never Be Defeated." Let me start. She says, "I live in Florida, where I have practiced Nichiren Buddhism for 39 years. In 1975, I joined the SGI Young Women's Division. We were asked if we would like to start a life and drum corps. A fifth and drum corps, and be part of 200 girls from the SE up to Washington, D.C., who would march in Hawaii on July 4th. Over the next 3 months, I learned to play the piccolo. I learned an attitude of never give up. As part of our training, we memorized a segment from The Opening of the Eyes, one of Nichiren's most important gosho. Although I and my disciples may encounter various difficulties, if we do not harbor doubts in our hearts, we will, as a matter of course, attain Buddhahood. Do not have doubts simply because heaven does not lend you protection. Do not be discouraged because you do not enjoy an easy and secure existence in this life. This is what I have taught my disciples morning and evening. And yet, they begin to harbor doubts and abandon their faith. We recited each morning and evening our gongyo, which ingrained the passage into my life. Our dimoku created unity and the courage to face all obstacles in our path. Without that training that penetrated deep within my life, I would never have faced the next 39 years with a never be defeated attitude. In 1980, while in the Catskills learning to hang glide, I fell 600 feet and put my head through the rod I've been holding. I suffered brain damage to the left lobe, which caused grand mal seizures. I was encouraged that Nam-myoho Renge-kyo is like the roar of a lion. What sickness can therefore be an obstacle? I went home and began a 3-hour-a-day campaign and chanting to change this karma. When I went back to the doctor, to his surprise, the new test showed no damage. This experience would provide profound encouragement for me later on. I learned to live 100% in the moment and to move forward with strength and courage. During a turbulent period in 92, I kept losing jobs every few months and also my place to live. One time, I lost my job and place to live in the same day. I continued chanting several hours a day and practicing hard within the organization to introduce as many people as possible to the practice. To my amazement, I've always had a beautiful environment around me and a new job. In 94, I had my first attack of MS. I think MS means Chloe, are you there? I think it's called multiple sclerosis or something. Chloe, are you there? I think you know this term. I think it's called multiple sclerosis. Although it was not diagnosed at that time, I knew something terrible was happening to my body, and that stress escalated the symptoms. I dropped out of my career and found a contract job that would allow me to work when I felt good. I began to paint furniture that I was able to sell. I worked hard with the other leaders in our district to raise capable leaders. As I began to build fortune in my life, in 2002, I was hit with another major attack. This time, I lost the use of my right leg, could not hold my body up, and the tremors were unbearable. This time, I was given the diagnosis of MS and placed in a nursing facility. The doctors did not hold out to much hope and said I would probably spend the rest of my life there. I had a great SGI support system, and they encouraged me day and night. Matilda Buck called me from the FNCC, and I promised her that I would see her in October at the WD conference. Now here, I was making a determination to be at the conference. No money, lost my place to live again. On top of that, I could not sit up, walk. I called upon that never be defeated attitude that I learned in Young Women's Division. That, along with my brain damage experience, which proved I could change physical karma, also that I lived 100% in the moment, made me feel I could achieve victory once again. I knew deep inside that this was my greatest opportunity ever to show how we can change the impossible to the possible. I began to chant and study. By August, I walked out of the nursing home, and in October, I attended the conference, the meeting. I felt total victory. When I came home, I found I had a tumor in my left breast, which turned out to be a benefit because the oncologist that treated me had studied under a neurologist who was experiencing with cytoxin, a chemotherapy that could help MS patients. At that time, it had not been FDA approved. I never owned the cancer. I felt it was a benefit that after 8 treatments over a 16-week period, I had my balance back. And in the fall of 2002, they could not find the MS in my brain. For the next 6 years, I was MS and cancer free. I continued to build districts in Florida and help other members to stand up. Last July, the MS came back. At the October Kosen Rufu Gongyo, on oxygen and a walker, I vowed to the members that I would not be discouraged. I would make it through and change this karma once and for all. I decided to do the chemo again. Due to the severity of the effect, hospice was called in to manage the pain and care for me. Over the next several months, I was on morphine. Hospice tried to get me to sign a DNR, which means do not resuscitate form. I refused, telling them you do not die from the disease. You die when you have completed your mission on earth. And I knew I hadn't done that. Once again, I lost everything around me. I moved from my home to a friend's house. There were days when I was so sick and full of pain, it would have been easy to let go. But the training I received, that never give up spirit, was at the core of my life. At the end of November, I received an overdose of morphine and was rushed to the ER with acute respiratory depression. My lungs were filled up with liquid. I remember being in a dream, and this man was trying to drown me. I asked him not to do it because it would discourage so many people. After that, I opened my eyes. A friend was there who was a paramedic and SGI member. She told me that I'd come within 5 minutes of being brain dead. Something deep within me had changed at that moment. Once again, the chemo worked and my symptoms went away. But the side effects caused my digestive system to fail for the next several months. In 1 week, I lost 14 pounds. It also caused some focal seizures in my brain, which put me back into the hospital, poor thing. An MRI was done, and the neurologist told me that for someone who had had MS for 16 years, my brain had hardly showed any signs of the disease. I told her I was a Buddhist and had been working at changing the karma of MS. I was told that most of my myelin sheaths, a sheath that's wrapped around each nerve cell, were damaged, and they did not know how I was moving around. My pain would never go away. When I came out of the hospital, I was once again homeless. Not only that, but I seem to be re-experiencing bits of karma that I've been throughout my life, I have seen throughout my life. It was difficult to see the ugliest aspects of my life that I had thought were gone for good. But I was determined to clean out my karmic storage bin once and for all. President Ikeda said in Buddhism in a new light, an important aspect of what we call enlightenment or human resolution is to change the way we see ourselves, and thus to see the unconditional value of life within us, which neither requires comparison with others nor depends upon our transient appearance. I continue to work with my co-district leaders to help members stand up and chant dimoku to show actual proof. I felt a transformation in the depths of my life. My brother asked me to come to live with his family in Kunming, GA. We had always been close, so I decided to take him up on it. He came to Florida and brought me home. And I do mean home. He told me I would always have a home with him and his family. Now I have a home and a wonderful family around me for the first time in my life. At the beginning of February 2011, my doctor put me back in the hospital due to some weakness on my right side. I spent 1 week, and during that week, some tests were run. I felt that the hospital was the Buddha's land. I was released with a follow-up doctor's appointment. On February 14, 2011, I saw my neurologist. Now, this is a new one that I had in the hospital. He had taken an MRI of my brain and then a spinal tap. After getting all my records from Florida, he showed me the DVDs and the MS, which he can hardly be seen in the MRI. My spinal tap came back almost completely clean. He sat back for a moment and looked at me. Then he spoke. I'm completely amazed. Then he asked what type of Buddhism do I practice. I told him I was a member of the SGI. Then he smiled and told me his mother had been practicing since he was a kid. And of course, she had tried to get him to practice. He said that I have blown him away, that he has never experienced seeing karma change. I believe I will get him into a meeting now. I could not figure out why the doctor was putting me in the hospital. Usually, they wait until the MS has escalated before they put me in. I believe it was the mother of the neurologist that was chanting so hard for her son that I got into the hospital to meet him. It is truly how the mystic law works. In June of 2014, I changed the karma with MS. I owe my victory to the never give up spirit that I learned in the Young Women's Division and ingraining the segment of the opening of the eyes into my life. By never being sorry, I was leading a peaceful life and never doubting the forces in the universe. I have been able to change major karma and gain wisdom, courage, and most important of all, great compassion for everyone that I meet. This is a very, very long experience and very touching. I mean, how can a person go through so much pain in so many years and still come up strong and victorious? Okay, this is what I'm sharing with everyone today.